Hi, and welcome to the first episode of UK History Lessons, GCSE Survival. In this first episode, we're going to be talking about the beginning of the Weimar Republic. So, to begin the Weimar Republic, we need to remember the First World War. Now, the First World War was fought between 1914 and 1918. On one side, we had France, Britain, America, and briefly Russia. However, on the other side were Germany, Austria-Hungary, Italy for a brief period, as well as the Ottoman Empire, what is now modern-day Turkey. By the autumn of 1918, the German High Command, also known as the OHL, had realised that they could no longer win the war. However, it took until the 11th of November for Germany to surrender. But we'll come to that later. On November the 3rd, soldiers in Kiel, which is a German harbour in the north of Germany, mutinied. They'd been ordered to attack the Royal Navy. However, they realised that they would not be able to win, as the Royal Navy was so strong, and they were so weak already. As a result, they resisted their orders and didn't fight. This zeitgeist spread throughout Germany, and people eventually were resisting commands from their officers in the army, as well as striking in general. Wilhelm was forced by his Chancellor, Prince Max von Baden, to resign or abdicate on the 9th of November 1918, and an interim Chancellor, SPD leader Friedrich Ebert, took his role. Friedrich Ebert was leader of the Social Democratic Party of Germany, which at the time was the largest party in the Reichstag, which is the German parliament, and it was also the main left-wing party in the country. Friedrich Ebert signed an armistice on the 11th of November 1918. The 11th of the 11th, 1918. That's why we have Remembrance Day on the 11th of November. It's when the First World War ended. Ebert and his friends in government had to start drafting a constitution. Germany was now a republic. They had no king. However, there was a slight problem. There was a Spartacist revolt in Germany. Now, the Spartacists were a group of communists led by Rosa Luxemburg and Karl Liebknecht. This uprising began in Berlin on the 5th of January and lasted until the 13th. Over the course of this uprising, 100,000 workers in Berlin went on strike. They were also armed with surplus weapons, many of which they had no training in, and therefore were completely ineffective as a fighting force. They were still dangerous enough for the government to flee Berlin. They went to a town called Weimar, which is in the centre of Germany. To put down this rebellion, the German government, now known as the Weimar Republic, went to a group of former soldiers and veterans known as the Freikorps. As I said, the Freikorps were comprised of former soldiers and World War I veterans, many of whom had extreme right-wing views. They were very pro-Kaiser and very pro the former imperial regime. They did not like the Weimar Republic. However, they did not like the communists even more. They hated the communists, they were very right-wing and didn't like any of this left-wing nonsense. The Freikorps were sent in, 3,000 of them, to Berlin by the Weimar Republic, or the Weimar government. They brutally suppressed the communists, with between 150 and 196 communists killed, many in horrible ways. Karl Liebknecht and Rosa Luxemburg were brutally murdered by the Freikorps, and their bodies were thrown into a river. We think that the Freikorps were the first group to use the swastika in obviously a right-wing context. However, this was not actually during the Spartacist uprising, this was during the Cat Putsch, which is something we'll cover in episode 2. Hope you enjoyed this video and hopefully you learned something new. If you would like to support me, please consider subscribing and liking. I'll be making more of these videos and I hope to make this a series. Thank you for watching.